So I hope that you're all doing amazing, and today we're going to be talking about a subject, or maybe say an item that you may love or hate, and I'll give you a clue. Well, I don't have any more pacifiers in my house. I tried to look all over for one. Maybe I have to go to the store and buy one and maybe redo this video. But I don't have any more in my house because I got rid of all the baby stuff that I had that I didn't need anymore. And to be honest with you, I had pacifiers for a very short time because I used to think that they looked really cute on babies until I actually had the experience of using a pacifier, and then I decided that I hated them with a passion. So that might not be your experience quite yet, because maybe you haven't had your baby yet, you're still pregnant, or you just never used one with your first, and maybe you just had a baby, your baby is very, very fussy, and you're contemplating using a pacifier. So we're going to talk all about pacifiers, or maybe you call it a dummy, or a binky, or a teat, or a chupel, or a soother. There's a lot of different names for them out there, and they come in all shapes and colors and sizes, and cute and glow in the dark, and even flavored. So if you go to the baby aisle, like in a baby store, the pacifier aisle or section is huge, okay, which is amazing. Because what a pacifier actually is, it's basically a fake nipple. That's what it is. It's a fake teat, as they call it basically, and it's usually made out of latex now, or different types of plastic materials and things like that. But before, in ancient times, they were made from clay, silver, pearl, and coral. Would you believe that? That's incredible. But 80%, what is more incredible is that nowadays 80% of like moms in North America have used pacifiers with their babies. So it's huge. We see that that a lot of people use them a lot. And what's even more concerning though is that we see kids getting older using them. So not to criticize everybody, parents in their own way, but I've seen kids at the store, at the park, like 5, 6 years old and still using a pacifier. That's really, really not good, and it can create some issues later on down the line. We'll talk about those things so you can have a lot of different considerations when it comes to using a pacifier. So basically, in regards to the risk of using pacifiers, especially if you have a breastfed baby, okay, there's a lot of things that it can kind of interrupt in regards to breastfeeding, okay, because it causes you to miss hunger cues or confuse hunger cues too, because a lot of times when babies are hungry, they start to develop different stages of hunger cues. So they could be kind of putting their fingers in their mouth, or sucking on their fingers, or kind of going like this with their mouth, like they want to suck something. So sometimes we think, oh, maybe a pacifier will do it, and then what that does, it aggravates the baby, escalates the baby's hunger. So that's one concern. The other thing is it can create poor latching or nipple confusion, because the way that a baby sucks on a pacifier is different to a mom's nipple, okay? So it creates nipple confusion, okay? Another thing is it can lower your milk supply, because the more time your baby is spent sucking on a fake nipple or on the pacifier, then the less time baby is going to be stimulating on your nipple to stimulate your milk supply, to let your body know that it needs to make more milk, okay? So it can actually decrease your milk supply. And the other thing that it does, it creates early weaning from breastfeeding. So the more dependent the babies become on pacifiers, it tends to kind of distract them or lessen their attention with breastfeeding, okay? So it can actually cause you to wean early from breastfeeding. Now, the benefits of using pacifiers, because there are some benefits, okay? So we'll talk about those too. So you have the pros and the cons. So pacifiers have like an analgesic effect, so like a soothing effect basically, so a pain relieving effect. So sometimes maybe even doctors or nurses will recommend it during maybe like a circumcision procedure, or maybe when babies are having shots or medical procedures and things like that, because you're not going to have your boob right there stuck onto your baby when they're doing some sort of medical procedure. So it's a good time because baby's going to be kind of soothed by the sucking motion. So in those cases, even the Pediatric Association, American Pediatric Association, would recommend using a pacifier too. it lowers the risk of SIDS, okay? And there's not any like fundamental research in regards to this, but what like medical pediatrics basically have said is because what it does is while baby is sucking on the pacifier, because most cases SIDS and things like this tend to happen because of respiratory problems or basically an immature respiratory system on the baby. So when the baby's sucking on the pacifier, it's gonna remember to continue breathing. So it kind of keeps the baby half awake, which is what also happens when you're breastfeeding your baby too. If you breastfeed your baby, you co-sleep with your baby or anything like that. Pacifiers are also good for preterm babies, okay? Because there's been research done, and with preterm babies, it helps them because it helps to train their sucking reflex. So it helps babies to kind of like develop that, kind of become more motivated with their sucking system. Sucking reflex. So it helps them to be able to basically latch on the breast or drink from a bottle. So it helps stimulates all of this. But again, that would be done too if the baby was latched on to mom. It's just that in most preterm babies are actually in the NICU, so they're not necessarily going to have mom there all the time. So in a lot of NICUs, nurses do use pacifiers. But saying that, I would say that breast is still going to be best, okay, in regards to your comforting your baby, which is the main reason why people use pacifiers, okay? Because when you are naturally breastfeeding your baby, you're having that maternal bond connection. So your baby is feeling your heartbeat, your warmth, everything that they've been used to for 9 months in your womb. So it really is like the ultimate comforter for your baby. And it's not just the nutrition, like I said, it's also your scent, it's also the hormones that are transferred through breastfeeding. So there's a lot that goes beyond just sucking, really. It's a lot more soothing properties that you're actually passing on to your baby. The only thing, like just to kind of conclude, we said the only circumstances really where medical professionals or pediatric professionals would recommend pacifiers is during hospital visits, hospital procedures, during like long haul flights, and to soothe babies to sleep, and to prevent SIDS, basically. Those are the main factors, because we know that there's a lot of actual issues that have been documented or have been researched, which are basically that the continued use of pacifiers can actually lead to increased chances of ear infections and also dental problems and speech problems. Again, because of the way that a baby or a child would suck on a pacifier is different to how it would be naturally on a mom, because mom's breast is much softer, and the way that it latches on the way that it kind of molds around the mouth is completely different. And you can't compare a latex nipple to an actual flesh nipple. It's just completely different. So there is a lot. And also tooth decay. The Dental Association of America also expressed how and researched that babies that were exposed to pacifiers, especially extended use pacifiers, were more prone to tooth decay. And the other thing too is, if you were going to use a pacifier, definitely if you have a breastfed baby, if you're going to breastfeed your baby, make sure you do it after 4 to 6 weeks of breastfeeding your baby, so that breastfeeding is established, okay? And the other thing is, if you're using a pacifier, don't use it after a year. After your baby turns a year, that's when you would have all those problems of tooth decay and also speech. So just be very, very careful with those. Okay, mommies, I hope that you take all that into consideration, pros and cons. I'm not giving you any biased stuff. I'm just giving you the facts. So it's up to you now, mommies. And share your stories about binkies. I'd love to know. Bye, mommies.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you give us a thumbs up and you share it with another mommy that can find it useful. Also, hit subscribe. That way you'll get to see all our latest amazing videos that we're doing. I've also included below in the description of this video all our links for our social media, so that you can follow us and be part of our community, our discounts, our giveaways. Awesome, mommies. Bye.